from Technology Tidbits. When they called and asked if I would...
Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
yeah. When they called and asked me to present, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am like the last technology person that you should have. But I'm telling you, I know that we have to do this. We have to get better, we have to improve because of our students. And it's at the heart of what we do. My blog spot is Iowa 2014, blogspot.com. I don't know if any of you followed me, but last year I had the honor of being the 2014 Iowa Teacher of the Year. So I had 2014-15 school year as a sabbatical. So I was able to travel around to every county. I hit all 99 counties, put on 15,500 miles on my car, and visited and got to see truly the amazing things that are going on around the state of Iowa. Not only in the area of technology, but just in the area of delivering services and opportunities for students. This is an exciting time in the state of Iowa. There are amazing things going on, and so it's just been an honor. So those places I visited, I showcased on the blog, so you can read about, let's see, all different school districts across the state. I'm on Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter if you want to. I wasn't going to put this up, but the speaker said you should do that, so I thought I better do it. And then there's my Gmail. If you want to contact me, I'll gladly get back to you. This is Beth Wold, and she and I co-teach together, and I said, come on, Beth, let's go to iTech together, because I don't like to do things by myself. So, Beth, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
I'm Elizabeth Wold. I teach in Macokota. I'm normally a band teacher by trade, but a couple years ago I was asked to do Talented and Gifted in 6, 7, and 8, and then this last year I was asked to do Talented and Gifted K through 8. So this is my first year dealing with the youngest students, and I am getting my eyes open to don't touch little brown things on the carpet. For fear that's what they are, and that's what it was. And to don't touch the tops of heads, get hugs, but just be kind of like, thank you. And wear hairspray, because apparently lice don't like hairspray. So I'm learning a lot of things, as I'm sure any of the elementary teachers. Yeah, so you told me. High school teachers? Yeah, you don't really deal with that, but give me a few. So it's an exciting journey, and I'm so honored that Jane asked me to be a part of this presentation.
Another thing is, this year I came back to Macokota Community School District full-time as an administrator. So I'm out of the classroom. What I miss the most is not being able to build those relationships with students. But I am working with teachers, which hopefully I'm building relationships with teachers. And so I'm what they call Director of Professional Growth and Student Learning, which is Curriculum Director for our school district. And so just trying to make my way on what that means and what that should look like in our district. Because it's been one way for some time, and I'm just thinking it's time that it become more personalized. So I appreciate the sessions that we've seen here. I'm going to start with a quote by a famous basketball coach, John Wooden, which is, failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. And I know that we all realize that we have to change. All you have to do is ask your student to reach in his pocket and pull out his cell phone, and you'll see how the world has changed, that in this informational age, it is at the fingertips of every student that we work with. No longer do they need to memorize all these facts, although it's still good to memorize so that you can have that with you. But how many of you, think about it, just Google it? You know, what an amazing thing that's going on out there. So all the more important that we use them, how to use technology to critically think, to examine closely information, to examine credible sources, and do all the things that really Iowa has outlined us to do with our students. My tech travels began a long time ago in early 2000 with e-mates from our AEA. They had these little green plastic computers, and they were made from airplane windshields, you know, and so they were really solid, and so I had them hanging in my classroom. The kids could take them home, and you could sit, like I could sit across from somebody and we could text back and forth with these little green things that were just amazing. And so what we would do is we would go out in the community and we would interview businesses. And so as they went out the door, I would beam to them the questions that they were supposed to ask when they went out into the community. So that was the beginning of my tech travels. And then I decided, you know, I really wanted to branch out into digital storytelling. So I got an ING Unsung Hero Award, which brought technology. We were able to purchase technology for our classrooms. And with that, Stacy Beamer contacted me. She was getting her master's degree from Iowa State, and she wanted to do a study on digital storytelling. So she said, hey, can I join you and help you? So I am thankful for Stacy Beamer because she really showed me how to use the technology to do that. And so she completed her master's degree successfully and used a lot of the data that we gathered because we looked at, my concern with moving into digital storytelling was losing academics. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, because I'm going to have these people, they're going to be interviewing kids and or interviewing people about topics, they're going to be writing research and presenting it in a digital way, but are they still going to learn the skills they need to be successful? And she was able to find the data that supported what we were doing. So we've moved now from the desktops to the personal devices. So we're one-to-one. How many of you are one-to-one now in your districts? It's an amazing opportunity for our students. So what I want you to do is, we're going to listen. I have a song here, and this would be a typical 8th grade classroom, and I recommend it for a lot of classrooms. And that is, this is my bell ringer, was my bell ringer all the time, and that was to unpack song lyrics. And so what I would do with that is, I would show them the lyrics. The lyrics would be presented to them. So I'm going to give you a minute to read these lyrics, and hopefully you can see those. I'll make it just a little bit bigger. Maybe. I think you can read it. And this is a song called Dream Big. And so I want you to take a minute and just read the lyrics about this song. I hope you can see it. See it?
No. Command win. Oh, you can just
And every year I would begin my classroom with this. Last year. Music is powerful. And so now we're going to listen to it. Unit that you would do. Just turn to somebody near you and say, okay, how could I use this? Do that. Just take a few minutes to talk to Just to give you an idea, really important, I think music is critical to use with classrooms, especially, you know, it really accesses a different part of your brain, and as Beth being a music instructor, she knows the power of music and what it can do for others. And so somehow just incorporating that into our classroom can set the tone. I know there are many people who use it as they welcome students in, as they set the tone for the classroom. There's another song here called Unwritten, but I'm going to move on. And so here are some other songs that are just really interesting. They provide interesting topics for students. the world, welcome to the future. What I like about the world is if you look at the words, and it's about welcome to the world, and it's about technology and stuff, but if you look at the video that goes with it, it's like completely different. It's about a girl that, it's digital storytelling at its best because it's a girl that opens up a box and she looks inside and then she joins the band. And so, you know, it's really interesting for students not only to unpack the songs and do margin notes and look at the similes and the metaphors and the descriptive language that's going on, but also then to compare it to video that's out there and go to the YouTube video and watch it because it really creates a different picture for students and it creates a lot of conversation for students about the difference between the two. Welcome to the Future, Live Like You Were Dying is a great conversation piece, especially if you are to read the story of Tim McGraw and meeting his father for the first time and what that whole song means. Writing with Private Malone is another great narrative put to music. Abraham, Martin, and John, an old song, Waiting on the World to Change, and We Are Done. So the other thing that we've done too is ask students to bring in music, but they always have to have them approved first. So they bring in their lyrics and they talk about, this is why I want to do this song. And they will come up with the best songs, far better than any songs that I come up with, as far as this song would be really good for us because I've seen bullying going on and this song kind of speaks to it. And so they really provide a lot of opportunities, a lot of ideas with music. And then another way to use video is inspiration through video. And so I have a short little video I want you to watch. I like to think of ways that we can inspire students and really move them forward to think about the future and think about character traits. And so this is one I use with character qualities. everybody, what text or topics of study could this go with? Well, how could you use an inspirational video like that? And then share with each other if you have used inspirational videos. What have you used in your classroom? Share with one another about that. What can you use? As you especially work on character qualities.
We noticed when I taught college, a lot of them come from school districts that they don't know their school districts. So they got to know their geometry, maybe their version of geometry, so they ready to put in the first semester. Not all, the ones that they just never experienced it. So we have them out there, employers can see that we had the results.
Okay. Thank you. Hopefully, is there anybody who had some ideas they want to share about inspiration? You know, if you look currently at, they do a lot of talking about soft skills now and the importance of it. Not only that we need to focus on academics, but also the social emotional learning that's taking place. And that really is the key to whether or not a student is going to be successful, or social emotional learning standards of them accomplishing those. And inspiration is one way to do that, because there are so many students that come to us from homes that do not provide the stability and the organization that they need. I know in our district, the poverty level is raising tremendously across the state of Iowa. The poverty level is raising tremendously, and it's up to us in schools to provide heroes, to provide inspiration, and to provide that social, emotional, and safe environment for our students. So here's something to think about, because we know that I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, but I just want to remind you of technology.
Did you know that this person spends 4 years of his life looking down at his cell phone? Kind of ironic, ain't it? How these touch screens can make us lose touch. It's no wonder in a world filled with iMacs, iPads, and iPhones, so many eyes, so many selfies, not enough us's and me's. See, technology has made us more selfish and separate than ever. As all it claims to connect us, connection has gotten no better. And let me express first, Mr. Zuckerberg, not to be rude, but you should reclassify Facebook to what it is, an anti-social network. Because while we may have big friend lists, so many of us are friend lists all alone, because friendships are more broken than the screens on our very phones. We sit at home on our computers measuring self-worth by numbers of followers and likes. Ignore those who actually love us. It seems we gotta write, maybe post and talk to someone who might actually honor us. Am I bugging? You tell me, because I asked a friend the other day, let's meet up face to face. They said, alright, what time do you want to Skype? I was starting with OMG, SRS, and then a bunch of SMHs, and realized, what about me? Do I not have the patience to have conversations without abbreviation? This is the generation of media overstimulation. Checks have been reduced to snaps. The news is 140 characters. Videos are 6 seconds at high speed, and you wonder why ADD is on the rise faster than 4G LTE. Get along with this. Studies show the attention span of the average adult today is 1 second lower than that of the goldfish. You're one of the few people on aquatic animals that get to click off or close this video. Congratulations. Let me finish by saying we do have a choice. Yes, but this one, our friends, we cannot autocorrect. We must do it ourselves. Take control or be controlled, make a decision. We're wrong, we don't want to spoil a precious moment by recording it with a phone. I'm just gonna keep them. I don't want to take a picture of all my meals anymore. I'm just gonna eat them. I don't want a new actor, new software, or a new update. And if I want to post an old photo, who says I have to wait until Thursday? I'm so tired of performing the frequency of vanity and performance is accepted form of digital insanity. Call me crazy, but I imagine a world where we smile when we have no batteries. Because that'll mean we'll be one more
something to think about at this iTech conference. I think what I would like to do is tell you a little story about cattle. My husband and I live on a farm by Delmer, and one day I said, oh, you know, the cows are all down there drinking at the creek, and Brian said, well, he said, did you notice the pattern? And I go, what? There's a pattern? The cattle drinking? And he goes, no. He said, have you watched them? I go, well, no, not really. And he said, well, he said, if you watch them, you will see the wisdom of cows. And I go, the wisdom of cows? He goes, yeah. He says, if you watch them, the calves are all pushing each other around, and they're smashing into one another, and they're down in the creek, and they're trying to be the first one to be drinking from the creek. And he said they're kicking up all the mud, and the water's filthy dirty, and they're drinking it. He said, but if you watch the cows, they don't go down there where the calves are. They walk further up the creek, and they go where the water is clear, and that's where they get their drink. So I'm telling you, it takes time to have wisdom. And so we just need to remember the wisdom of cattle, because we as directors in our classroom have to have wisdom, and to balance technology and balance what we do also with relationship building. In the words of Mark Twain, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. And that's what you do as teachers. That's why you're here at iTech, to explore, dream, discover, and also pass on that whole concept of exploring and dreaming and discovering for your students. I'm going to show you just a few shorts that you might want to use sometime. We use these to develop with the Iowa Core Standards, this one in particular, theme. And so kids love to watch these and then analyze the theme with it. Pixar videos out there that you can get off of YouTube that help teach theme, to help teach qualities of character. This one in particular, I'm just going to show part of it. This is a clever way that 6th graders use to teach similes and metaphors in the classroom, and they recorded this themselves and put it out on YouTube for people. But you might want to do something like this
in my first class. We've been studying different literary devices that authors use to add detail to their writing. One of our main focuses has been to understand the difference between a simile and a metaphor. So today, you are going to listen to several clips of songs that you hear on the radio. Believe it or not, most popular songs include several similes and metaphors throughout the lyrics. At certain points throughout the clips, I will ask you to pause the music and jot down notes and your thoughts about each clip. Remember, a simile compares two unlike things using the words like or as. A metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things without using the words like or as, and usually uses the words is or are. Katy Perry's song Firework is a great example of how both similes and metaphors can be incorporated into writing. Listen to a few clips from her song and see if you can identify the similes and metaphors that she uses.
So just a way for you to have students create their own video using music that will teach similes and metaphors or some of the various things that you do in language arts or even in your classroom. This one goes on, and then they could have you stop and they ask you questions. Great instructional tool. I'm going to forget the walk and talk right now. I just want to talk to you about some other tidbits of reaching beyond the classroom. We at our school did the real Hunger Games, and so the high school became the characters in the Hunger Games, and that's what we did to do our food packaging program that we did. And so they had created this little video to advertise it, but they became the characters from the Hunger Games, and it was a way for the high school to connect with middle school before, and it really created a lot of energy and excitement about our food packaging program. We did autobiographies of senior citizens where we went in and we talked to senior citizens, we interviewed them. Originally the goal was that the students would learn history through the eyes of the senior citizens, but we found that really it was more the relationship building that was key. And so then they created booklets with pictures, and they presented them as gifts to the senior citizens, and many times those appear at the funeral homes when the senior citizens pass away. So it's really a treasure that they have. We do a global issues unit where we study issues across the world, much like the World Food Prize, and they look at different problems around the world and how can they solve it, and what are some of the organizations around the world that are working towards solving those problems. And then they're given $1,000, you know, not truly, but $1,000, and then they have to decide which organization would they give their money to and why. So they have to justify why they would give money to that particular organization. Civil rights movement interviews, it's always interesting to go and interview people about some of the prejudice and discrimination that they see in the area, and then report that back and talk about Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream, a World Cafe, a part of professional development where people bring in their favorite lesson plans and then talk about what makes it their favorite and what are the selling points of that lesson plan, and then how can other people duplicate that. And then a coffee house where students who read and write can get in front of the classroom in a coffee house setting where we serve hot chocolate, and kids can get up in front and then they can present their writings and they can present what they're learning. Just some other things of reaching beyond the classroom. But in particular, I wanted to share this story about a student that I had, and this is called Soul Snow. And one of the projects that we did was a multi-genre project, which is where you can include technology and you can include students write poems, and they write short stories, and they write narratives and descriptive paragraphs. And so in particular, she decided that she wanted to study teen suicide and depression. And so part of her multi-genre project that she turned into me was this poem called Soul Snow. In my soul snow is falling, in my heart blizzards rage, in the distance spring is calling, but I can't escape winter's cage. All around me there's no fear, all around me time goes on, in my mind I'm still kept here, though I reach for summer's song. I just loved her poem. I thought it was just amazing. I had chills, but then as I looked at it, my chills turned to chills of fear, because I thought she knows far more about teen pregnancy than anybody should know. And so I had to call the parents after school, and I said, you know, I don't know if she shared her project with you, but she knows more about teen pregnancy or teen depression than anybody should know, and you really need to talk to her about it. And so the parents talked to her, and the next day Sarah was gone. She wasn't in my classroom for about 4 weeks. Where she went, she got help for teen depression. They gave her the accommodations she needed, they gave her the interventions, they gave her the medicine. And when she came back, things were fine. She's just a gifted student. And a few years later, I didn't think anything of it about that one phone call that I made, but I went to her graduation party, and when I walked in, the father came and he threw his arms around me. He said, thank you for what you did to Sarah. And I said, oh, you're welcome. I walked a little further, and the mom came up, she threw her arms around me, thank you for what you did for Sarah. And I said, well, you're welcome. When I didn't find out until that day that Sarah had made plans to end her life, and I am so thankful that I made that one phone call. So you as teachers are critical. When you look at their digital projects that they're doing, when you look at what they're writing, when you develop relationships with them, key in on them as people, because so many people overlook that, and relationships are key to what we do. We hold the future of our students in our hands, and we can make that difference. And I'm so thankful I did, because Sarah's going to be a teacher, and she will be able to share her stories with others. I'm going to show you now some other projects. This one is done with Crazy Talk. Has anybody yet done Crazy Talk? I think this is, okay, Crazy Talk's about a $6 download on iPad. Okay, so this girl did this interview, and I want you to watch this.
Welcome to the Back to History Show. I'm Nicholas, and he has a very special guest today. Please welcome America Vespucci.
Hello.
It's great to have you here today.
It's great to be here, Helen.
Well, we should get started. I have some questions for you.
Ask away.
Do you have any nicknames?
I have been called Pickle Dealer a few times. I thought that was a quite significant name to be called.
What were you best known for?
I would probably say for being a Florentine navigator.
When were you born?
May 9, 1454 in Florence, Italy.
What was your favorite subject in school?
I never really went to school. My uncle was my educator, but I guess I'd have to say literature. I did a lot of reading when I was young, and I do like writing a good short story.
So a clever way of using iMovie combination, iMovie and Crazy Talk to come alive instead of just having somebody dressed as Amerigo Vespucci, to have a real picture of Amerigo Vespucci as he's talking. You notice his eyes are rolling and his mouth is moving and his head can move a little bit. So Crazy Talk is just a really neat thing for kids and they love it. They really get into it. Another thing is global issues and ways of using technology with that. We've always read a story about Iqbal Masih, who was sold into slavery at the age of 4, where he had to weave in Pakistan, weave the rugs because his fingers were small enough to be able to do that. And so we always read that story, but then when Iowa Corps came on the scene, we realized we needed to look at other perspectives. And so what we did was we got stories about Iqbal Masih that are printed in Canada in different areas because it tells it in a different way. And there are different things to emphasize. And so we read the two and we compared them. And then I said to the class, I go, do you know that there's a video out there on YouTube that says that this is all a lie, that Iqbal Masih is still alive, that Iqbal Masih gets assassinated when he's 12 because he's speaking out against this, but this video says that he didn't. And so they're like, what? So we got it up and we watched it, and it was put out by the Pakistani government that it was a lie, that didn't happen, that he was well treated and taken care of. And so then it gets into the talk about credible sources. Who do you believe? What do you think? Who benefits from this? And so those conversations are really important. The other thing is with Malala, looking at video interview, as well as looking at songs about Malala and looking at poetry and books about Malala, and just bringing that all together to teach about global issues and that things aren't the same all over the world like they are here in America. Public service announcements are always a popular thing to do, so take a concern or a need, research the data, make a conclusion based on evidence, and then produce a PSA in response to what you have learned. In some cases, it might be a PSA for something in your community, something in your school, something that could be presented before the school board as you talk about things that need to change. Here's one quick one that is on there as an example of what you can show students.
Hi. Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do, and just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
So all sorts of conversations about what do we teach?
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
My name is Dakota and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run as fast as you can.
Do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. Yeah, insulted good.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. Sounds like a bad thing. Sounds like you're trying to humiliate someone.
So when they're in that vulnerable time, between 10 and 12, how do you think it affects them when somebody uses like a girl as an insult?
I think it definitely drops their self-confidence and really puts them down because during that time they're already trying to figure themselves out. And when somebody says you hit like a girl, it's like, well, what does that mean? Because they think they're a strong person it's kind of like telling them that they're weak and they're not as good as them.
The power of video. And here's one more for public schools. A while back, I did a partnership with Iowa State University, and they would, in their pre-ed, their pre-service teachers, would create book promos, and then they would send them to my class. We would watch them, and we would evaluate them. And so that's how it began, us looking at digital book talks. And so I wanted to share a few of those with you that students have created. This is a perfect project for students to do in a group. The first one I think I like because to me, it's so typical middle school. And they're not afraid to be themselves in this.
First we disrupted them at school, my goodness. So we're ready to go ahead and put this forward now. So, they still, please, like,
we actually had an Academy Award ceremony, and we had a red carpet. We put a red carpet going into the library. They were supposed to dress up. They came in. Sam's Club gave us hors d'oeuvres, so the kids were able to eat hors d'oeuvres and drink grape juice, and we watched the book promos, and then we awarded Academy Awards, so you can get little Oscars at Oriental Trading, and so we gave out Oscars, and this was our all-round winner. Another tidbit is Mystery Skype. I don't know how many of you have done Mystery Skypes. I love Mystery Skypes. I visited, I'd never seen it before. I went to Southeast Polk Elementary, and when I was there, she said, how long are you staying? And I said, well, I was going to stay a couple hours. She said, well, at 11:30 we're doing a Mystery Skype. I said, I am so not leaving. I said, I'm staying for that. And so you set it all up with your classroom. It's an amazing thing where everybody has a job, and then you connect via Skype with another classroom, and you see, you have to guess, you ask yes or no questions, and you get to guess where they're at. And so then once you're successful, that you even have a little kid that holds up the thing in front of the camera that says yes, you're right, or no, keep trying. And it's just an amazing thing, and you can just go on to Mystery Skype and find out how to do one. It's a great thing for kids. It's a great way to learn geography and things around the country. So Mystery Skype is another really tidbit that I like. And then the last thing is reversed thinking, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is an example, and this is more advanced, that you would do with more advanced students.
I am part of the lost generation, and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie, and money will make me happy. So in 30 years, I'll tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight because work is more important than things. I'll tell you this, there is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not conceive that 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So in 30 years, I'll tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie, and happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe that I am part of a lost generation.
So another thing that you can do with students, there are a bunch of those online. I opened up the Google Doc that was posted as resources, and it has links to the videos that I showed you and everything, so you're able to access them. Hopefully, my goal was that you at least take one tidbit with you that you can go and implement in your classroom, and I thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your day.